before and after. Hello and welcome to another Mr. Beat video, and this one's a little bit different insofar as we're looking at an Epson projector. Epson EB-S03 I've had this for a few years now and it doesn't get an awful lot of use, but it was secondhand when I got it, and I don't know whether you can really see, but it's suffering from dust that's managed to get into the optics. So what I want to do, I've got Eurovision coming up, so we're going to have a bit of a Eurovision party, and we're going to use the projector to project onto the wall. It actually works really well. I mean, at the moment, sort of looking at it, it's it looks actually really good, but what the camera doesn't really show you is, like for example on the TED tile, I can see that it's just slightly fuzzy. It's not really highly defined. I use it in eco mode anyway, just because full mode you get too much fan noise, and you just don't need it really, in a dark room as well. So yeah, on full mode. So yeah, let's just take it out of eco mode. Eco mode, normal. You see it's brighter. It's still not that sharp, and the focus, that's perfect focus, as good as I can get it, but yeah, it's still not perfect. So if I put it back to eco, fans spin down. So yeah, let's take it apart, have a look, see if we can improve things. Okay, so before we take it apart, just a quick rundown of what this actually is. It's a 3 LCD projector, and these are actually my favourite brand and type of projector. So let's put some light on. Mainly because of the LCD. They're very good to use, especially with people that suffer from migraines and light sensitivity, because I find the DLP ones, and I do suffer from migraines from watching DLP projectors for too long. I can almost see the flicker and find it very distracting. So yeah, I always recommend, especially for school use, if they're going to have projectors, which really these days they shouldn't, they should have touch screens. 3 LCD, I tend to go for Epson, because the parts are plentiful, the lamps aren't terribly expensive, the aftermarket ones aren't so bad if you're careful where you go buy them from as well. So this one, it's actually quite handy. Got S-video, composite and stereo in. We've also got computer, which is quite useful, VGA, and we've got HDMI. So it's a good mix for the type of things I use with this. It's really quite cool. It's got the USBs there as well, which I think this is new enough to have the ability to actually have wireless streaming to it with a USB sort of dongle that plugs in there, and then you can actually cast to it. So yeah, so that's basically what this is. I do clean the filter quite often, but the filter is still pretty poor, and the foam is starting to break down like they do. I have actually bought a genuine Epson filter to replace this at great expense. It was about 28 UK pounds, which is an awful lot for a bit of plastic and a bit of a bit of foam, but apparently it's the right one for this. So yeah, in fact I'm going to take that out. I'll just put that out the way. I don't want to break it unnecessarily. We're going to have to take the lamp out. I haven't run it for terribly long, but it's still a bit warm, but if we're careful it'll be fine. So screw out the side and then lift the cover off, just slides back and off, and then got 2 screws here and here, and they're captive, or at least I hope they are. It's a genuine Epson lamp in here, so it's probably never been changed. And if it's not too hot for me just to lift this out, it's best not to lift them out really when they're hot, but that's fine. So there's the lamp, and the lamp actually looks in pretty good condition. I don't know what the hours are like on this. I think it's still fairly low hours, but yeah, so that's the lamp. So move that out the way, and then there's where the lamp shines through. So nearly touched it, but I didn't. You don't want to be touching that. Don't want to get finger boils on there. So getting this apart, I've deliberately not looked into what it takes to take this apart. I assume, well, I'm going to have to remove that screw, so let's take that out first. And that is actually much smaller than the screw used for the lamp. So it's a short self-tapping crosshead. So I did wonder if there was a little screw in there, but there isn't. So I think everything else undoes from underneath. Yes, so screw here. Oh, I can feel that coming loose as it is already. So another one the same. Assume they're all the same unless I show you otherwise. So far they are all the same. There's a couple of deep ones as well. So I have to get my old screwdriver set out. There we go, all the screws out. They're all the same type of sort of self-tapper. Screw here, 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 one in there. These two are deep, quite deep. Here, here, here. So there's quite a few screws to come out, and obviously that one on the top. Does the top lift off, or does the bottom come undone? This is the question. Hoping it's the top comes off, because that's where all the optics are going to be. I wonder if there's a screw under here. Yeah, there is. Thought that felt a bit tight still. So one under the cover, maybe 2. Let's have a look. To be fair, I could probably get it with that one. So another screw the same. Yeah, and there's one down here. I'll use this long one so I don't catch the tab. Like so. So quite a few screws. I'm not convinced I won't find even more as I go along. I might have to undo this one as well, although Yes, I do. So there's also 2 black screws as well, and then there'll be that one as well, I'm sure. So that one's the machine screw, and then two black screws. Fantastic. So this should now lift off. And another screw on the top that I missed. This screwdriver just about reaches in there. It's a lot of screws. And yeah, there's a ribbon cable. So the ribbon cable here, which plugs in there. So there we have it. So this can be where the fun begins, because everything I need to get to is actually underneath this board, and it's making the decision whether I want to do that, because the actual optics here are okay. It seems to be mainly in the front, so I'm almost tempted to just remove the front lens, which is fairly easy to do. You can see the 4 screws. If I can get the screwdriver in there, I think I'm going to try that and just get this off. We can then look back in as well and just see what the optics we can see, what that looks like. I'm pretty confident there's no calibration on how this is screwed in, even though there is some red paint on there. Can't actually see. The lights playing tricks. On things for me. Oh, I don't like the sound of that. It sounds like there's nuts on the back of that. Which means I'll have to take it all apart anyway. See if there is a nut on there, because I'll soon find out when I put this back in. I wonder if I can get that. No, I won't be able to get that back in. No, it does tighten up. It does sound like a nut fell off. Wouldn't be the first time I've had that. You sort of get caught out by the fact that there's a nut. So you have to take the whole lot out. Okay, well, there is dust there, but it's not terrible. I don't know whether you can see very well. You can sort of see dust on the optics there. Yeah, you see it's quite open, this side, so the dust that does get blown through. I mean, the fan is pretty caked up, to be fair. So it really does need to be cleaned. So I'll be taking this fan out and give it a good clean. On the inside, this needs to come apart. So this is actually cemented in as well into that plastic, so this will have to come apart somehow. How that happens is a very good question. And the only way I can actually see of taking this apart is to take these 3 screws out. So let's do that. Little self-tappers again. Seems to be their screw of choice. And I do start getting a bit nervous because when you start taking these apart, there's every chance of knocking out the optics, getting it wrong. I once did that on a NEC projector, and it's actually quite cool because it made the image larger, which is what they wanted anyway. So it just changed the focal length. But yeah, it wasn't a proud moment that I'd done that, but it was a happy accident. So this bit on the top here, this faces that there. So let's gently pull that off. Oh gosh, yeah, it's quite dusty, isn't it? Oh, is this going to be one of these that you can't take apart? Ah, okay. So if I go beyond, this will allow me to take it out. Is there any... Does it matter? Let's just take it out. I don't think it matters. Well, yes, no, I don't think it does. So that's okay. So we've got grease here. At the moment I can't see any way of getting this apart. Actually get into those lenses. Yeah, see there's two lenses there. One there, and then this one at the back. Yeah, and then it's just changing the focal length from where it comes out of the LCD array there. But I can't see a way of getting this apart. Yeah, that's a bit disappointing. Well, there is definitely no way to get this apart without breaking the glue. So what I've done, it's not perfect, but I have blown it through with air duster. I managed to get, well, the gap is quite big here. There's actually two different bits of magnifying glass here, and then 2 here. I also managed to get air blown in through here, so that's good. It's not ideal, but it's all I can do. If they're sealed, they're sealed, and I'm certainly not going to start trying to crack them open, especially as it's not terrible. I mean, if it was really badly contaminated, then I'd be looking to do that, but it isn't, so I'm not. So I think I'm going to put this back together now. I don't see any reason to keep it out, and I will give it one final wipe over. There is grease here actually, but I'm not going to worry about putting any more. It's fine. There's enough in there. It's actually fairly generous on the grease, and clean outs in there as well. So that bit at the top, That's in there, so goes there, and so there we go. That's looking good. So far so good. So I'll give these one final clean up as we go along. So just remove some of this easily removable bits of dust. Although I want to do anything with that fan as well, probably. That one I will probably just clean the blades in situ. It's this one more that I'm concerned about. So screw there. These look like the same. Yeah, they are. They're the same self-tappers as used on the case. You can see just the amount of dust on this part is really quite spectacular. Oh, it's not going to be that easy, is it? It's not going to be as easy as just putting this out because it's all part of the whole assembly. Well, I think we're making the decision to carry on. Let's take this panel off and see what we're up against. I shouldn't need to take too many connectors off. Either, which is something. To be fair, I don't need to do that. Don't need to take those screws out, I don't believe, because if I turn this round, all the connectors, obviously they're soldered on here, but they're also part of this assembly. So if I remove the screws that hold the assembly, hopefully the whole lot will just swing out the way. So more self-tappers. And it's almost like it wants to come out already, which would be really quite interesting. So power supply connectors here. It's been premature pushing those up, so I'm just going to push these back down. So I don't know, I might not have to unplug everything. The NECs, I seem to remember you had to. You had no choice. You had to strip it from the top all the way down. So those are all unique. Another screw here, which I totally missed, even though it's right in front of me. Mains connector there. Okay, so this board does have to come out on its own. Worth noting as well, high voltages do exist in these things. Yes, I'm going to have to. So just be careful, be aware in the banister circuit especially, which will be in there actually, I believe. And let's just screw there. So it's a machined screw, goes in there. I have to watch this video back to put all the screws back in, that's fine. So there we go. That's apart. It's getting this apart now, taking the top off this. So we've got captive tape there, which I assume will have to come off. So let's take the top off the optics. I'm going to put these screws over here. So far so good, they're all the same. Captive nuts on the back of the oh no, they're not captive nuts. Actual little, yeah, one of them did fall out. I thought I heard something drop. So it would have had to have come apart, so I couldn't have got it back together. Obviously we don't want to shift the LCDs because they are calibrated. The other thing you want to watch as well a little bit is there might be mirrors that are attached that, oh, missed a screw. Really good at doing that today. That could be attached to the upper bit, and when you lift this off, they'll fall out. But not on this one. It's just that one there, which is calibrated. So don't adjust that unless you really have to. Play with that. Bad idea. And there's the optics. So they actually don't look too bad. But they do need a clean. Basically, I'm just going to very carefully clean these with a cotton wool bud. The LCDs themselves look good, so you can see the 3 LCDs. Yeah, so I'm going to take the whole lot of this out in the end to put the front lens back on, which is a bit of a pain in the neck. But I'll clean this up and get out as much dust as I can, and yeah, then we'll take it from there. Okay, so that's looking pretty clean. I actually managed to lift out each of these lift outs, and this one, obviously keeping them the right way. There's another one here. These two don't have those because of the different colours. And then I've cleaned all the mirrors, everything is cleaned, and I am now going to quickly put this cover back on. I managed to clean all the LCDs as well. The two filters, they come out. There's no filter on this back one. Well, I say there's no filter because the filter for the back one is actually on here. And I've just spotted a huge amount of dust, actually not on the lens but on the metal below it. So I know there's still dust around it a little bit, so it's not too bad. But what I'm trying to avoid now is any peripheral dust falling back in there as I put this back together. So worry about the rest of it once this is back on and the screws are back in. And I think that's it, yes. So in hindsight, I think I would have just removed the whole assembly, take the top board off, remove the whole assembly with the front lens and take it apart on the bench basically and clean it. Makes a lot more sense to do that, but hindsight is a glorious thing. So the right screwdriver really. So those are quite big screws. I'm suspecting we'll have some more cables to undo. There's another screw down there. Yeah, so these, it looks like just 3 big self-tapping screws. Another one down there. Yeah, that seems to have done it. So pull this off. And looks as if I'm not out the woods with the connectors. Anyway. Okay, so we're going to have to unplug more stuff. I don't think I'm missing anything here. Ah, I haven't quite undone this screw. Okay, so we're not seeing any of this. So I've got these to get back in. But that also gives me a good opportunity to give the rest of this a jolly good clean out, good brush out. The actual fan for that's the exhaust fan, is fine. This is pushing air out. Yeah, that's actually fine. I'm not too worried about that being contaminated in any way, because it's not drawing air across any of the internals. So yeah, okay, so I think what I'll do, I need to give this a bit of a clean, try not to contaminate here too much, and then yeah, we'll put this front lens back on and get all the rest of the dust out as much as we can, and we should be fairly close. So 2 screws there to get this fan assembly out, together with the 2 at the front there by the looks, but we'll see. We'll see. So I've put the lens back on. All seemed to go okay. Pressed back in the 2 retainers, so that's cool. Obviously this is still all connected. I'm not going to worry too much about putting that apart. Also need to clean off all this dust off the back. It's just like soil in there, to be fair. And also need to do the same on the top cover. But what I'm going to do next is actually remove, let's get you in, remove the fan units, which I think is just literally these few screws, having already taken out 2 at the front. Just need to get this choke out, it just presses in, and that should come out. Oh, nearly. IR, I think that's the front IR sensor. Just clips in the front there. So this is actually providing quite a lot of wind to the whole of the electronics, the optics. So you can see the fan actually blows out here, and then it's the air is directed, so here to the power supply, banner circuits, various parts of the optics, and also to the optics. So this is like the first stage, where it's vented there. So we need to clean this all up and take it from there, I suppose. Well, probably the most important fan to get clean is also the biggest pain in the neck to clean. I mean, I've done a fairly good job. You can still see some dust in there. Might be able to get that last bit out from the bottom part. But, oh, it's just so difficult. And you just don't want the dust. But, I mean, it looks muckier than it is, to be fair. I've got out so much rubbish out of these fins. And removing the fan itself is actually quite easy. It's just the housing there, just clean. There's nice bits of dust out. Not that it matters too much, I don't think, there. But, well, if there's dust there, then dust got there, so I suppose it does. So that then goes there. There's two screws, one here, one here. They're actually the big screws, the same big screws that were holding down the optical assembly. You've got these wires here, but let's get the screws in first. Let's check there's free movement. Top screw and that bottom one. And these cables just go through the cable management. It's like little plastic tabs. I don't know whether you can quite make out. I've not removed every last little bit of dust. It seems almost impossible to do that. Because you sort of do so much and then you find more. But I've done my best. That's all you can do, really, is just get as much out as you can. And yeah, just check I have tightened those enough. So yeah, well, that I think we'll have to do. So I actually covered the lens assembly because I didn't want dust getting back in there, although I have to say I've dusted most of this outside of the room. Putting this back, being careful to note how the cables run. There's a cable management slot there, which I don't know whether you can quite see, but it's underneath the board, the exhaust. And that's going to go there. Cable management seems to sort of almost be sorting itself out. Yes, it is. Cool. Yeah, so the IR board goes in that way, so there's a bit that sticks out on the board, and that faces to the right of your picture there. So yeah, you still see there's so much dust sort of floating about in here. I'm gonna have to clean off some of this other dust as well. So yeah, I shall do that next. Okay, so the main lens assembly is back in, optical array, whatever you want to call it. Put the screws in, 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks like there should be one there, but there isn't, not in this model. There's more dusty stuff. It's just amazing how dusty this thing is. And it's like soil right the way through it. But anyway, it's certainly a lot better. I did clean a little bit in here, but not hugely. You can see it's, yeah, what it is. So yeah, I just have to work out now where all the screws go. So I've just cleaned inside the chamber there as well. It's an easy one to do. So it's just 2 screws to put that back on, so I'll put those back in. Okay, so let's try and put this back together. I have put that tape back on there, which I think is a bit of a just in case type of thing. So we'll get these back in first. Like so. And a bit of a jiggle here. It is actually a bit tricky. Oh, I put a screw in there that I shouldn't have. It's partly why I'm battling. So fighting against connectors. Yeah, so the mains socket, sorry, there's a little tab on the top of it, and that needs to locate the other side of this, otherwise it won't sit properly and things will not be happy. And one there. Well, we're getting down the screw count, but I have a really horrible suspicion I've already missed some screws from underneath, maybe, I don't know. So there's a screw hole there, but that is actually that's actually fixed by when you put the top cover on, so that's cool. Let's put these on. I don't think I've trapped anything. It sort of has a bit of a tendency to want to come back out, but I think that's just down to just the way the sockets line up and how everything sort of lines up, really. Okay, so things I would have done differently. I would not have tried to have done half a job. I think if you're going to clean out the whole of this the optic system, you just have to take this top board off, take out the whole of the optical assembly and give it a good clean. So there's no way you can cheat. Like you saw, those 2 bits of metal fixings fell out when I took this off to clean it. You know, and this was the worst bit, to be honest, which is fairly sealed anyway. You're sort of fairly limited what you can do with the cement glue there, unless you want to try and break that. But so let's get the top cover on, not forgetting the top controls, and this actually controls everything, or has everything. So there's actually a leaf switch for both the front door, lens cover, and the lamp as well, the lamp in sensor, and the connector is actually, let's pull up, so it's put up 2 plastic tabs either side, seem to be sitting very well, and we're good to go. If there's something that slides, yeah, there is. Yes. 3. Oh, same this side. So rear screws go in last. There we go. Got a bit carried away. That's gone down perfect now. I was a bit worried about catching the ribbon cable because there is a fair bit of length to it. So that one can go in just while you want to hold things. But yeah, otherwise, I just know I'm going to have spare screws. I already put a screw in, so I'm going to have to take the top back off. I won't let you watch all of that. Okay, so place your bets now. How many screws are going to have left? I reckon it's going to be about half a dozen, but we'll see. There are an awful lot of screws in the bottom of this. Oh, that's right. I forgot there's a few really deep ones. Let's check that door works, which it does. Before we go too far. Get the filter. Let's put that back in for what it's worth. The new one hasn't arrived yet, but that'll be fitted as soon as possible. I'm not going to run it very long now. Anyway, just give it a test. Still finding lots of pockets of dust everywhere. It's a nightmare trying to get all this stuff out. So that's that. Then the lamp. Put the lamp in. Side, just tighten that up. And I suppose I better give it a test. Okay, so here it goes. The main thing is, will it work at all? Well, so far so good. It will get a bit confused because, let's put that around there, because of the really weird angle I've got it at. Oh, that is actually a heck of a lot better. Oh, yes. That's really good. Let me just put the light off. That's actually sharp. Wow, that's brilliant. Fantastic. So, I think we're ready for our Eurovision party. So with that, thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe as well, it means a lot to me. And thank you to everyone that has. Like I say, it really does mean a lot. And I will see you in another video. Bye for now.